Hello and welcome to the Gadgets and Gizmos Show on Headlines Today. I'm Siddharth Sharma. And over the next half an hour, we've lined up for you guys some interesting reviews and news from the world of technology. But before we begin, let's take a look at the lineup.
On the show this week, which is the best smartphone under Rs 10,000? We get you a guide on that. Also, best camera apps on the show. And there's a new 8-bit game that is making some waves.
Now, Panasonic is not that famous in India for making smartphones. Yet they came up with a new one recently, and this one is called the Panasonic Eluga U. We'll get you a review on the show, but first, let us tell you what the specs are like.
This is the all-new Panasonic Eluga. Panasonic has come out with this smartphone for the Indian consumers at a price tag of 18,990 rupees. Eluga offers a 5-inch, 1280 by 720 pixels HD IPS OGS display with Corning Gorilla Glass 3 protection. It runs on a 1.2 GHz quad-core ARM Cortex-A7 processor by Qualcomm with Adreno 305 GPU. Eluga also operates on Android 4.4.2 operating system and offers dual SIM functionality. At the back, you get a 13-megapixel rear camera with LED flash and is compatible with 1080p video recording. There's also a 2-megapixel front-facing camera. Inbuilt storage is 16 GB and there's a 2500 mAh lithium-ion battery.
Alright, those were the specs on the all-new Panasonic Eluga U. Is it good or just another average Android smartphone? Well, to tell more about that, we are joined now by Sahil Gupta, who's an assistant editor with India Today Digital, and he tells us whether this phone is worth it or not.
So this is the new Panasonic Eluga U. It's their latest smartphone and it's their first smartphone in India to be powered by a Qualcomm processor. Design-wise, this phone is a very attractive looking phone. It has got a glass back and it reminds us of the Google Nexus 4. It's an incredibly slim phone at 7.95 mm and it weighs only 141 grams. It's very balanced to hold and it's generally a very comfortable phone in the hand. On the front, you have a 720p 5-inch IPS screen which has got great viewing angles, good color fidelity, and generally it's pretty bright even under direct sunlight. Overall, we are pretty impressed by the display, and at this price point we just think that perhaps it could have offered a higher resolution 1080p screen. On the back, the Eluga has a 13-megapixel camera with a LED flash. It's a decent camera, it takes decent photos in normal lighting. In low lighting, it stumbles a bit, but it's very good for the price the phone is offered at. On the front, it has a 2-megapixel camera, which is pretty standard for most smartphones. In normal lighting, it will take decent selfies, but in low light, there's no point in taking selfies with it because it can't absorb a lot of light in it. This one is powered by a Qualcomm Snapdragon 400 processor tied up with 2 GB of RAM. The performance is very fluid and generally we could navigate through the user interface and could play multiple games and have multiple apps running simultaneously without many hitches. Notably, the Qualcomm Snapdragon processor Snapdragon 400 in this case, was also used on the Moto G, which we know to be a fine performer. Likewise, this phone is also a fine performer and performance issues are not a problem with it. The Panasonic Eluga U is powered by Android 4.4 KitKat, but unique to this phone are two launchers. Unlike most smartphones, this phone has two launchers. One is a stock Android KitKat launcher, but there's another launcher which Panasonic calls the Fit Home launcher. The main USP of the Fit Home launcher is that it allows the user interact with most of the apps with a single hand. The problem with the 5-inch screen is that single-handed usage is not easy, but because the Fit Home launcher keeps most of the apps in the bottom half of the display, so the user can use the phone with a single thumb. On the back, it has got a 2500 mAh battery. It's not removable because it has a unibody design, but in general usage, one can easily last a day and not have any issues. At Rs 18,990, we believe this phone is slightly overpriced considering you have offerings like the Moto G retailing for around 12,000 and you have the Asus Zenfone 5. Then you also have a really advanced phone like the Xiaomi Mi 3 retailing for 14,000. But if you're looking for a phone with an attractive design, slick user interface and performance, then this is a decent option.
Now, I'm sure many of us have played or heard about the game called Flappy Bird, the frustrating 8-bit game that took the world by storm. Sadly, it was pulled off the Apple and the Android Play Store, but the ones who still have the game on their smart devices enjoy the frustrating part of it. And now the developer has come out with a second edition to this 8-bit marvelous game. It's called Swingcopters. Let's take a look.
This time around, Dong Nguyen seems to have clearly decided not to make the gameplay as frustrating as the original title, but somehow manages to add that Flappy Bird level of toughness in the new title. Swingcopters with its main character will let you climb horizontally to progress through the levels. This time around though, it's a bit more complicated thanks to additional swinging obstacles that come your way. It's all about getting the timing right as the swinging obstacle seems to move in sync. Still then, it's the lead character that seems to flutter about in a random movement that makes the game tough as hell. Swingcopters is available as a free download with ads or for a price of 60 rupees for a version without them on both Google Play and iOS.
Now, camera is one thing on our smart devices that we use the most to capture those special images and record videos and then share it on the social networking platform. So we thought, why not list down some of the hot apps right now that are doing really good in the camera department.
Here is our pick of the best camera apps that you can download onto your smart devices for an enhanced photography experience. Camera Plus is our pick for the best camera app as it's fast, easy to use, feature-packed and consistently updated. Camera Plus is fantastic for a number of reasons. But the best feature Camera Plus adds is the ability to set focus and exposure separately. You also get a variety of shooting modes including a stabilizer, timer and burst mode. a solid digital zoom and a grid to make sure your compositions are interesting. This is a free app on both Google Play and Apple App Store. VSCO Cam falls somewhere between Camera Plus and Instagram. It's a powerful editing tool that's full of filters to enhance your images. Is easy to use, has a ton of advanced filters and provides a place to share your photos if you want. The features are easy to use and you can easily edit exposure, temperature and contrast with just a couple taps. If you want, you can upload all your photos to your own page on VSCO Grid, which also has options for copywriting your photos. It's free with in-app purchases for filters on Google Play and App Store. Photoshop Touch is next on the list. For most people, the feature set in Photoshop Touch is overkill. But if you use Photoshop a lot and need to edit on the go, this is your best option. You're able to mess around with layers and selections. Make adjustments and sync your work between your smart device and your desktop. Photoshop Touch has so many features that it's actually not that intuitive to use. But if you're experienced in Photoshop, you'll get the hang of it eventually. If this, then that. Yes, it's a name of an app. The IFTTT app isn't a photography app, but it's an excellent app to keep around if you take pictures with your phone. With IFTTT, you can set it up so that every picture you take is backed up to Dropbox or Flickr automatically. If you want more granular control, you can send every picture taken with the rear camera to Instagram. Send every photo added to a particular album to Facebook, or one of a ton of the other photo-specific recipes. IFTTT is basically a way to automate where your photos go, and once you've set up, you won't have to think about them again. IFTTT is a free app on both Android and iOS. Gallery Vault is a privacy app for the images and videos that you take. Android users of Gallery Vault can hide the application's icon and import media to a safe location set up by the application. In other words, Gallery Vault offers a free stealth mode, a feature otherwise available only on paid apps. The app has a simple user interface. All files hidden by the app are encrypted. After you launch the app by keying in the correct passcode, you can browse all media inside the app. The media browser design allows for a smooth photo and video viewing experience. Gallery Vault's clean interface, unique stealth mode and the nifty shake mode are features to look out for. And best of all, this is also a free app on both Android and iOS.
Now, a couple of years ago, if you wanted to get a good Android experience, a lag-free, seamless experience, you had to shell out anywhere upwards of Rs 25,000. But now times have changed. You can get a nice Android experience in under Rs 10,000 and a smartphone experience which is seamless and trustworthy as well. So we thought, why not tell you which are the top 5 smartphones under rupees 10,000.
First up is the Asus Zenfone 5 8GB version. The Zenfone 5 represents incredible value at 10,000 rupees. This is the 8GB internal storage variant, but it can be expanded using a micro SD card. The phone comes with a fast Intel CPU clocked at 1.2 GHz, which also features hyper-threading technology, 2GB RAM, dual SIM slots, and a neat-looking 5-inch 720p HD screen. While all this is good, the great bit is that it offers an 8-megapixel rear camera. It has the imaging pedigree to compete with the high-end Android phones. The design of the Zenfone 5 is admittedly a little drab, and its battery life is average. Nonetheless, at 10,000 rupees, this device punches above its weight. The Moto E was designed for a market like India, where phones like the Nokia Lumia 520 proved to be incredibly popular. It essentially offers a stock Nexus-like software experienced in a neatly crafted body, which is also water and dust resistant. In terms of hardware, the Moto E uses entry-level processor and has 1GB RAM. But it offers adequate performance to handle day-to-day tasks with ease. The battery of the Moto E is good and the QHD screen is bright and vivid. Its rear camera is 5-megapixel shooter with fixed focus, and there is no front-facing camera. Priced at 6,999 rupees, this is a good value for money entry-level smartphone. The little brother of the Zenfone 5 in a way undercuts the Moto E on both hardware and price by offering better specs for less. It is powered by an Intel Atom Z2520 processor. Zen 4 has 1GB RAM. Of course, all of this converts to great performance, but camera performance, battery life and screen quality is not comparable to that of the Zenfone 5 or even the Moto E. Its screen is particularly dull and colors look faded on it, but at a price tag of 5,999 rupees, you will never see this phone lag. The Lumia 530 is the newest kid on the block. It's the cheapest Windows Phone 8.1 smartphone in India, and it blends a great design and powerful hardware in a functional package. There's a quad-core Qualcomm Snapdragon 200 CPU, 512 MB of RAM, dual SIM support and a 5-megapixel camera. It lacks a front-facing camera but still is an attractive option for someone looking for simple experience and does not need a lot of apps at a price tag of 7,349 rupees. The Unite 2 is Micromax's Moto E killer. It has a powerful hardware including a quad-core 1.3 GHz processor, 1GB RAM, dual SIM capabilities and a 5-megapixel autofocus camera and a 2-megapixel front-facing camera. It runs Android 4.4.2 KitKat out of the box. Unfortunately, it has a drab design which feels cheap and an average 4.7 WVGA 800 by 400 pixel screen. Micromax Canvas Unite 2 is priced similar to the Moto E at 6,999 rupees.
And that's about all the time that we have on this edition of Gadgets and Gizmos Show. If you have any comments, queries or suggestions, tweet us at HLT Gizmos. You can also email us on htgg@aajtak.com. We'll see you same time, same place next week. But for all the news and updates, keep watching Headlines Today.